everybody, and welcome to Stimming in Stilettos with Dr. Tasha. And as I do with every single episode, I have brought you another great guest. And actually, our guest today, Ty Goodwin, and we kind of sort of roll around in the same crowd. We know some of the same people. So we've probably been circling each other and didn't even know it for some time.
Like stars.
Yeah. Yes, and but I love when that happens. You just never know who you're going to meet in the circles that you're in, which is the beauty and the power of networking. So I put out a call and said, "Hey," on I think several different platforms. And when I saw your name, I was like, "Say what now?" We definitely got to talk. So you guys, welcome Ty Goodwin to the show. And so anyway, hi Ty.
Hey.
How are you today?
I am so excited.
I can't even tell you, just I kept saying, "Oh, is this really gonna happen?" Because I know you're like, y'all, she's booked out, booked out, booked up, booked all the things, right? So for this to happen is just like, whoa, I couldn't even really take it in. Like, okay, so this is really gonna go down. Okay, so as we do with every show, Ty,
Yes.
tell us your STEM story.
Oh, wow. You know, it's an interesting journey. I started out as a school teacher,
Wow.
actually. And I went into the dark side of corporate training for a tech company,
Mm,
a global tech company with around 15,000 folks. And I'm sure, like a lot of your listeners, a lot of times I was the only woman in the room. I was the only woman of color in the room. And that kept happening to me, throughout, my career. I worked for a couple of Fortune 500 companies, and I was kind of in the tech that's related to training,
mhm.
right? So we were a training and development were the areas that I focused on, but I focused on a lot of the instructional design for online learning. And so I've always been kind of techie. I remember one of my first jobs after teaching, I was managing an Excel spreadsheet.
Mm,
I taught myself, what was it called? Microsoft
mhm,
Access.
mhm.
So yeah, I was a little extra, right? I'm like, this spreadsheet stuff is for the birds. I'm going to create this database. I taught myself Microsoft Access, built the database. It was for their internal library system. And then one of my colleagues put a Cold Fusion. Some of you might remember Cold Fusion from way back in the
Yeah,
day. He
yeah.
put a Cold Fusion front on it. And now we had a whole database
Wow.
instead of trying to get people to manage an Excel spreadsheet. And so that was my beginning of me kind of teaching myself tech, and it morphed into when I started my business. Let's teach myself WordPress, how to build WordPress, how to build. I was using Dreamweaver. Right?
Oof.
Remember that way back? Yeah, right. Taught
And
myself
you live to tell
Dreamweaver.
the tale. Woo, boy.
Yeah, so I was teaching myself all of these tools because partly I was bored in my day job, right? It
Mhm.
wasn't, it was great, but I'm such a fast learner. I was bored. And so I would teach myself how to use these tools. So when I started my business, and a lot of my clients were like, "Oh, can you show me how to do that?" I don't know how to do that. You're so good with this marketing tech stuff. So I was teaching people how to do it, but then I also started just doing it for them, which is how we got to build our agency. And
Mhm.
so what I do now as the CEO of that marketing team is I get to do the things I love. I love to teach. So I still teach my clients how to use all the tech. Like, we specialize in CRMs and email marketing platforms. So I'm teaching them how to use it, but then I'm also digging in and building things on the back end. So I get to do the best of both worlds.
Man, I did not know this about you, but it makes so much sense.
Mhm.
It makes so much sense. So I love how you've been able to take your teaching background and put it with tech and kind of show people that it's kind of like both are universal, right? They're not these siloed things. Because I think people think sometimes that if you're in tech, like geeky people don't, they don't teach. And then teachers are just teachers, like that's all they can do. And
Mhm.
so you have managed to bring those two together in a way that is quite beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah, that was when I recognized that when I worked for that global tech company, that I had this gift for taking the content from the subject matter experts, right? Because these guys are talking about like, data security, software, all that kind of stuff. And I had the ability to actually interview them and really make it palatable for other people. Because
Right.
there is that gap, right? You've got the super techie people who a lot of times they don't like they don't like talking to other people. They want to be in the numbers and the data and the tech. And then you got people who need that information and they don't always meet in the middle. So I got to be a liaison because I could understand both sides and I
Yeah.
could communicate with both groups. And that's a skill. So if anybody that's listening has that, recognize that skill because you're able to leverage that into some really fun and amazing conversations and places.
I bet I was I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. So I always like to, I mean, it was true at the time. It's just sort of like, I don't necessarily want to talk to people. I would just want this thing to be done. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
so you're always in the work trying to figure that out. And you're talking to people who understand your language.
Mm-hmm.
So having someone else come in to converse with you to try to figure out like how's this translatable to to other folks is like really key, and it is a particular skill.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's right, you guys. If you are listening and you're like, yeah, I think I have this skill, this ability to sort of translate what the lingo or the language of a tech person or a person in STEM and make it every day. And you can, and however, whatever form that looks like for you, that is a skill, and you guys need to take it full advantage of it
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Okay, so tell me this. When it was it a natural progression, or was there a point along the way where you said, hey, this is a thing, like I could really do this? Like how did you sort of morph it into like your own business? How did you get from like the day to day,
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning these skills, but
Mm-hmm.
what am I going to use them, how am I going to use them into a
Mm-hmm.
business?
Yeah, so I started out from the instructional design side, one of the
Mhm.
paths, right? Instructional design for online learning. And I started a side business, and I was helping people create courses. My tagline then, and we still use this, was let me help you make your brilliance bankable, right?
Mm,
So let me help you take what you've been doing in a corporate side, and now you want to start your own business with a course. And I was helping people build courses. And then I would say, well, who are you going to sell your online course to? I have no idea. Like, what
right.
do you mean you don't have people to sell to? And so I started taking the opportunity to help those people build their audience. And that was marketing tech. It required automating your marketing, setting up your email, building databases, right? Doing all the coding and stuff for websites on the back and all of those tech tools. So all that skill of let me get in here and tinker and figure out how this stuff works ended up paying off because I started understanding how marketing technology worked and how things needed to be integrated.
Right.
And so when my clients who are amazing at what they do, they don't want to spend their time trying to figure that out.
No.
So I get to come in and I get to figure that out for them and create the systems and the processes, and then started adding people to my team so we can take that off of their plate so they can focus on what they love. So it was a natural progression of, in true entrepreneurial fashion, here's a problem that people have.
Hmm.
Here's a problem that people are willing to pay for. I've got skills that can solve that problem. Therefore, I can get paid to solve those problems with my skills.
Yeah. So I think that's amazing. And I think maybe me as a small business, I think I've run into that issue also. Like, when you were talking about like, I have this thing, but like, I don't know who my audience is. I think I've sort of run into that a couple of times. And, um, sort of being a solopreneur it makes it really hard for you to be able to kind of get all the pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I don't know if anybody's told you, so I will just hopefully I won't be the first, but I will put my name in the hat and say, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Because it matters. I mean, it's hard enough. I can speak from experience. It's hard enough being a solopreneur, trying to do all of the things. You get it. Do you need a website? Do you not need a website? Am I going to create a quiz for this particular thing? I'm going to talk somewhere. How am I going to record, and where does that go? And what is, how do I get the contacts after the, like I wrote a book, and then it's like, it's like all of the things. And you're like, how do I keep this all together, make it a cohesive thing, and make it, I want to say, make it easy to be successful, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that kind of trips up some folks, especially in the entrepreneur world. Is like you've got a little bit over here and a little bit over here and a little bit over here, and it like none of it's talking to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That integrating all the pieces. And it's not, and here's the thing that's interesting, Natasha. It's not just the tech side of it. It's like you were mentioning, like, do I know who my audience is? Do I know this? Do I know that? And that's one of the reasons why in our program we have a liberated CEO accelerator, because I want people to have that freedom in their business because things are automated. But we start with, let's get you clear about who your audience is. What's your offer? What's your messaging? Because those pieces, I said this the other day, like if marketing isn't your first language, right, it's really
Right.
hard for you to put some of those pieces together. And
Mhm.
one of the guys that was in my class, he said marketing is like my 20th language, right? So it was like way down on the list. And so it makes sense. And well, and here's something else, and a lot of your audience can probably relate to this. When we've been in corporate jobs,
Yeah.
especially in engineering and training and all those places, we had to wear all the hats.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when we get into our business, we often think, oh, I still got to wear all the hats. And that's not true. I laugh with my clients all the time. I say, that companies have entire marketing and sales departments.
Right.
And
Right.
you're trying to do the marketing and the sales and the admin and the bills and serve clients. Oh my goodness, it's a lot to do. So solopreneurship and entrepreneurship are not for the weak and faint of heart. And you also don't have to do everything yourself. And that's where, we come in and helping, take that off our clients' plate so that they can focus on the stuff that they love to do and the stuff that they're good at and the stuff that's going to bring in money.
Okay. So I'm going to use this time to give you time to sort of tell us what that marketing team is all about, like
Mhm.
what are your areas, all the things. Go for it. Let's just do it.
So that marketing team, we are a full service agency, right? And so we have our done for you side of the house where we work with bigger brands and bigger companies who like they're at the place where they can't bring in a full marketing team in-house, but they still need marketing support. And that's where we come in. And then on the other side, and I'll tell you a little bit about the services, but on the other side, we do have a coaching program. And I've got a lot of people that are like launching while working, which is what I did. I had a full-time job and I launched my business on the side. And so we coach them on how to put a marketing system in place. Our whole goal is we want to help our clients have a repeatable system so that they have predictable income every single month.
Mm.
If you know how many leads and clients you need and you have a system every single month for bringing that in, you can have predictable income instead of what a lot of people have, as we call it, a revenue roller coaster. One month you made money, the next month you made no money,
Yeah.
right? Because you're waiting on somebody to
Hello.
give you a referral. Oh, I just need a referral. I need word of mouth. And listen, like it's like Lizzo, right? She says, "Why men great till they got to be great? Referrals are great until they got to be great, right?"
Yeah.
Because when you
Mm.
don't have them, you don't have any business. And so we're all about that system. And how do we do that? We build sales funnels. We're known for our quiz funnels that we help people use
Yeah.
to generate leads. We do Facebook ads, Google ads. We do everything that helps you generate leads. So from the planning, we break it down into 3 sections. Design, right? Let's design who's your audience, your offer, and your messaging. Then let's build your system, right? And then let's launch it. Let's drive traffic to it. So those are the 3 areas that we specialize in. And we work with coaches, consultants, course creators. We work with e-commerce brands, and we work with people who are like experts and service-based folks who, like I said, they're brilliant at what they do, but marketing is not their first language.
Mm-hmm. Man, trust. I can so relate to this.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that for me, I can just speak to me. But I know this is some other folks. It's like there's this little bit of fear of like sort of pushing through all of that, right? Like, of course you want to be successful. Of course. Like, you don't sort of move into solopreneurship or entrepreneurship and be like, oh, this is not going to be successful. Right? Like nobody does that.
Right.
But I think that there's a well, I know for me anyway, that there is just this tiny bit of like I don't know what I don't know. And for me, that is like an opportunity for paralysis,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where I don't move
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing too, there's so many mixed messages out there, right? Like, you listen to this person and they say, do TikTok. You listen to this person, they say, don't do TikTok, do Facebook ads. And there's all this conflicting stuff. And one of the things that I absolutely detest is when people say there's only one way to do something.
Right.
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 There's multiple ways it works for different people at different times. You could do something that works amazingly well in January, and by March, it doesn't work anymore. So you've got to have that fluidity. And it's really hard for people who are not having their finger on a pulse of marketing because that's not their forte. It's hard to navigate that and manage it sometimes. And so that's where people like us come in, right? Where, every month we're giving our clients, okay, here's what you want to focus on in your marketing. If this is what you're trying to do, if this is what your goal is, here's how you do it. Here's what you focus on, and kind of keeping people on a path so that they can create that repeatable system so they can have predictable income in their business. And one of the things that we do is, like, we've got a something called the leads workshop.
Mhm.
And we're doing it weekly right now. And every week we're showing people, here's how you set up a client attraction system. These are the pieces that you need if you're trying to bring in clients every single month. Here's what you need to have in place. And then we give them the high level overview, and then we've got the strategy and the tools to actually help them implement things and make it easy for them.
So now I think this is interesting. So uh, I guess in my mind, I don't think I really thought about it as, I think I thought of it like, once you create this system, like this is going to be the system. So I didn't really think about the fact that maybe this will work for now, but you might have to revisit it
Mhm.
or update it
Yeah.
or, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Um, and I hear that. I guess it was just a new concept to me. So I'm
Yeah.
just
Well,
reiterating what
well,
it is I
well,
think I heard.
yeah, well, let me clarify. So the system is the system, right? And we've
Mhm.
got, you've got to have your audience, your offer, your messaging,
Yeah.
your automated system,
Hmm.
and then driving traffic to it. But what gets people into that system can change, or how you drive traffic can change.
Got it. So it
And
may
then,
not be a quiz. It may be an ad. It may be something else
right. Well, let's
or
say
both of those.
we always use quizzes, but the
Yeah.
question is, how do you get people to the quiz?
Oh, got
Is
it.
it an ad? Am I speaking on stages? Am I on podcasts like this directing people to the quiz?
Yeah.
Am I sending direct mail? Am I sending DMs? When am I giving the people the quiz? Right.
So,
So
okay.
all those things. Yeah.
So I guess a question for you, and this is so um I'm just interested. So, like, let's use Instagram, right? So, like, let's say I guess I what I want to know is, it's like there's an algorithm and there's a system, right? How do
Mm-hmm.
you, like, I've just never understood it, right? I just don't understand it. What Who sees what when? I only know
Mm-hmm.
what shows up on my page, right?
Right.
And so when I'm thinking about creating an Instagram ad, and it like I'm looking at the options that are available to me, and then like I don't know what I'm doing. So how do you figure
Yeah.
that out?
You hire us. That's the simple way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because that's what we spend our time doing. But it depends on what your objective is. Instagram,
Mm,
Facebook, same ad system.
yeah.
You have video ads, you have lead ads, you have conversion ads, you have messenger ads. Like, that's what you see when you go in the back end. We use a combination of all of those. When we are just wanting to get awareness out there, we might do video ads, right? Because
Mhm.
that's going to share it to more people and it's going to cost us less money, but it's not necessarily going to get us sales. So this goes back to understanding what your goal is. If you just need more visibility
Yeah.
because nobody knows who you are and you've got
Right.
to warm people up, you can do video ads to get more eyes on who you are. But when you're trying to get sales, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, they heard somebody say, oh, just spend $3 a day on ads and then you'll be able to make sales. Well, that was for like warming up your audience, right?
Right.
If you're trying to make sales, you've got to have a different kind of ad, and you're not going to send it to a cold audience who doesn't know you. You're going to send those ads to a warm audience. So there's all those little nuances in there that if you don't know how to navigate through your marketing, you don't know how to navigate through those changes, you'll just boost a post. And that's what a lot of people do when it comes
Yeah.
to ads.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that boosting a post strips away some of the options that you have. Like you don't get to always choose the audiences. It just shows it to
Wow.
more people, but it doesn't always show it to all the right people,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I can definitely tell you I did not know that. So you are
Yeah.
telling me
Yeah. So
today.
people be like, oh, I boosted this and I spent $25. So you boosted it to show to people who are already in your space.
Mm,
They weren't buying from you before. What you need is new people who don't know you but are looking for that problem. And you don't always get that through a boosted post.
okay.
And that's why
Makes
people
sense.
struggle with that, because they think, yeah, I'm going to do. No, when you go into Facebook ads outside of just boosting a post, there's a whole world of ways to optimize. And what do you look for? And how do you set up so you can track it and see what your cost per lead is? I'll give you a quick story. When I first started using Facebook ads with the quiz, I got mad at Facebook because they took $500 from me. That's how I said it, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
that they took it, right?
Yeah.
They sent me the bill, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they took $500 out of my account." I shut the ad off,
Mm.
and my coach said, "Well, why?" I said, "They took." And I was so glad at this time there was no Zoom, so he couldn't see me with the head roll. Like, what do you mean? Why? They took $500 out of my account, right?
Yeah.
He said, "But Ty, how much money did you make?"
Mm.
Oh, okay. I spent $500. I booked 10 sales calls. Two of those people directly bought from me, $8,500.
Oh,
Yeah, see, that's exactly what my reaction was, Natasha, right? $500 turned into $8,500. And that's when I understood, oh, now I understand why people are investing in Facebook ads. Because if you gave me 500, if I gave you $500 and you gave me back 8,500, I would give you $500 all day long,
right. Right. Like
right?
go forth, right?
Exactly. And so that's the power of paid traffic. And it's not just Facebook. You've got the same systems on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Google. You've got paid traffic opportunities. But that's when I started really understanding, oh, that's why people love this. But there's an art and a science to it, right? There are sometimes Facebook changes their algorithm and people are like, what the it was working like and put case in point, we had an ad, the cost per lead was $5 per lead.
Mm.
2 weeks later, the cost was $9 per lead.
Whoa.
And it happens because things happen. The more people are in the market, sometimes there's a holiday, there's all these things that are happening.
Ah, got it. Okay.
And something else to understand when I hear people say, oh, well, I only want to spend like $5 a day. Okay, that's great. But you do need to recognize that you're competing with people who are spending $100 a day.
Right.
And you're
Right.
bidding for the same audience sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all those nuances into it. And that's what we do at that marketing team. We've got partners that, handle those things for us when we don't do it in-house, but we've got a whole system and we've got a team that can manage that for people so that you're getting results and not getting a headache.
Mm. Love that. I mean, love that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm geeking out a little bit because this is what we do. We love this stuff.
Well, I got
But
a
I
question
know
though.
it's a no.
Well, because it does bring it brings me to this. I don't know. I'm just gonna ask it. How many people that look like you are doing this?
Not enough.
Mm.
Not enough. There's more and more, people of color that I see in this space. But, I worked for a marketing startup company. And at the time, it was one of the big players in the industry. And they had gotten $32 million in funding, right? They were hiring people. They were based in Minnesota, which is more diverse than most people think.
Right.
But I remember it was in, the Twin Cities, so urban, areas as well, like in Minnesota, and 172 people. And I was the only Black woman in the entire company.
Good night. That is insane.
And this was not 1980, right?
Right.
This is like within the last 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so I'm always looking for women and women of color who are in not just the branding, right? And listen, don't get me wrong. I think branding and photography and all that is really, really important, but there's a tech side to this,
Yeah.
right? And the more and we're seeing more and more people get into this, but we're always kind of late to the game, where other people who don't look like us have been using these strategies for years. And
Mhm.
we're just stepping into the game, which is exciting. But man, I just can't wait to pull more and more people who look like me into this space.
So now, I guess why do you think it is that we are so late to the game? It's not like we haven't. I mean, we have an entrepreneurial spirit. It's like a
We do.
part of our DNA,
Yeah.
right? So why do you think that we're late to the game in this way?
Because a lot of the models that we saw growing up with people who were entrepreneurs or who were in business for themselves, they were doing it themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And it was this I got to do everything. And I'm gonna pass out business cards, I'm gonna pass out flyers, and I'm a network. And my sister's cousin got know somebody. It was that kind of, and listen, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but it keeps us playing small. It's the
Mm,
same reason why a lot of us won't take out loans for business. And this drives me absolutely crazy. We will take out a 5-year, 6-year loan for a car,
right.
but oh, I'm not going to take any money out for ads for my business because I don't need no advertising. What do you mean you don't need advertising? What do
Right.
you mean you don't need marketing? Right? McDonald's,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, Google, Walmart, billion-dollar companies. They advertise like they spend money on commercials.
They do. They
So how
do.
come we, with our one person business, and we got 10 cousins that know people, we think we don't have to advertise, right? So
I love
a
that.
it's a mindset shift, and understanding that the reason those companies and those businesses are able to grow is because they invest in marketing, they invest in visibility, they invest and they use other people's money to do it so that they can get a return on it. And honestly, that was one of the first things when I did. One of my best months ever was when we booked $84,000 in business
Ooh, wow.
in
Nice.
1 month.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we even gone on to book $100,000 in 1 month in business. But it was because I took a loan. I think it was like either PayPal Capital or something like that, $5,000, and I used that to pay for ads. And that event that I was using for advertising brought in $84,000 worth of business.
Right. Wow.
Right now, I could have been like, oh, well, I only got $300. So, no, let me find some capital. And I have to say this, because if you're listening to this and you think capital is you're going to find a business grant, please don't.
Mm,
Like, that whole I'm gonna find a business grant. Yeah, there are grants out there, but sometimes they're hard to come by, and you're competing with a lot of people. So while it can be great, there are other options beyond grants that you can use for funding
mm-hmm.
when you're ready. But that's what I think one of the reasons is we think about it very differently, and we have to expand how we're thinking. If you ever watch Shark Tank,
Yes.
right? And
Oh,
we used to do Shark Tank Fridays years ago, right? And one of the things that you'll listen to when they ask the people about their companies is how much have you invested in the business?
right.
And
Right.
you'll notice that they say, well, we've had family and friends that have invested $500,000. They're using other people's money,
Right.
right? So when I started watching, I started to notice this pattern, right? That these people, they're getting funding and people are investing in them, and we're trying to do everything from our little bank account.
Yeah. I hear that. And I think more people need to hear, especially people who are Black and brown. They really need to understand that, like, we aren't playing the same game, right? And we need to be playing the same game on the same field, right?
Yeah.
Because we can win. We already have that innate, like, we're creative, we're innovative, we have great ideas, we
Mhm.
put pen to paper, we do the things to get us to a certain point, but it's almost like we get to that point and it's like we don't know what to do, so then we don't do
Yeah.
anything, or we do the
Yeah.
same thing that we think we're going to get a different result.
Yeah. And so I think we hear the story and we hear a story and we think it's a badge of honor when someone says, well, I built this business from scratch with no money from anybody. And I spent the last 5 years building this business. And I'm like, that is great that worked out for you. But here's the deal. If you had gotten help and had gotten funding, you probably could have done it in a year instead of the
Mm,
5 years that it took you, and how many sleepless nights and how many, because I used to hear those stories. Oh, I was living in my car and I was doing this. And we think that's like this glorified, oh my gosh, they did. There's
right.
other ways. It
To
goes
do
back to what I said before. There's more than one way, to get to a certain point. And we've got to start looking at those other ways that don't require us to make a billion sacrifices and take the long way and the rough side of the mountain way. There are other ways to get things funded and done in your business.
Okay, so I have a question. And
Yeah.
if this is like a business practice that, like people pay you for, then let's not. But I guess I need to understand, and I think I understand it, but for those people who may be looking to do this, like what on a 10,000 feet level, what's a funnel? Like a sales funnel, email funnel.
Yeah.
Like, and what's that? What is that?
Yeah. So great question. At a high level, everybody has a funnel, even if they think
Mhm.
they don't. You have a way that you encounter someone, invite them into your business, and serve them.
Yeah.
That's what a funnel is.
Mm, okay.
Now, we can add layers to that by saying, okay, how do you do that online? How do you find people? How do you attract them? How do you invite them in? How do you serve them? It's the same thing. And when we talk about a sales funnel online, we're talking about having a landing page that you invite people to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you've got a landing page, you've got a lead magnet. That's so that you get to know people, right? Like people don't buy the first time they see you. We're
Right.
actually working on a book right now called How to Court Your Customers, because
Ooh.
it's like marketing is like dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of us don't get married on the first date. And I always have to say this. So excuse me, listeners, because I got to make this plain. If you are Jason Momoa, Idris Elba, or Morris Chestnut, and you show up on a first date, I'm bringing a ring and a dress.
I mean, I'm with you on that. We might have to
Okay.
fight.
But everybody else, we ain't getting married, right?
Yep.
And that's the same thing in business. Like the first time they see your product or service, they're not going to buy from you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a way to nurture that relationship, to court them. And so that's where that funnel comes in, where we say, hey, like for us, it's a quiz. Hey, I've got a quiz for you, right? And this quiz is going to help you figure out what marketing automation will speed up your sales. Do you want to know? Yes, I want to know. Okay, well, you give me your email address and I'm going to give you the answer,
Got
right?
it. Got it.
And
Okay.
so now that you've given me your email address, and here's the thing about a quiz that's awesome. I know a little bit more about you than just your email address because I asked you some really smart questions. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep sending you love letters, AKA email, right?
I get it.
So I'm
Okay. So
courting
I'm
you, you
right.
know,
So okay.
and
So
we're
now we
building a
go together.
relationship
Right. So
so
now
that
we
when
go
we're
together.
ready, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that when we're ready to take that weekend trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're ready to pop the question. We built this relationship, and the best sales funnels are like that, right? We're going to introduce to each other. You're going to give me your email address. I'm going to give you some value. I'm going to send you some love messages, and I'm going to nurture this relationship so that when you're ready to make a buy decision, when
Mm-hmm.
you're ready to commit, it's easy for you to commit to me because we've had this long relationship,
Right.
opposed to
I
somebody
feel
who,
like I know you. I understand.
there you
I
go.
got more information from you and about
Mhm.
you through the our courting.
Exactly. For your email marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And that's the a high level and a metaphor to help folks understand the importance of having a sales funnel. Like I said, a lot of people have a sales funnel. It's just not an optimized one. Like you
Mm,
handing out your business card to people, hoping and waiting for them to call you. That's kind of a funnel, but it's not a very effective one.
got it. I
Right.
got it. I don't think that I ever understood what it was from that standpoint. Like I
Mhm.
think that that's really good because it for me, again, I'll speak from a personal standpoint. It felt like it was this impersonal me just taking these people's email and I never really felt good about doing that, right?
Mm.
But when I think about it from the standpoint of, like, I mean, it's an exchange. And I don't think I thought about like what I was giving to them. I only thought about what I was getting from
Yeah.
them.
Hmm.
So you've changed my mindset there.
Oh, that makes me feel really good. And this is what we do with marketing, because it's not people's first language, right? And what we see it when we see a lot of marketing, we don't really understand like the reasoning behind it, or why did they do that, or why would we do this? But here's the real truth about it. For those people that come into your space and have a problem that you can solve, you're the hero.
Yeah.
And that's how we think about sales and marketing. We're not getting people's email address just for the fun of it. No, you have a problem. You're not getting enough leads. You're not getting enough clients. You're not able to scale your business. Like, you might have hit 6 figures and now you're trying to hit multiple 6 figures, but you're stuck. Well, we can help you solve that problem. And the people that help solve problems, we call them heroes, right?
Love. That was a bar, as my husband would say. My husband would say that is a bar. So I love this. I love that. So tell me this. So what's coming up next for you? Where are you going to be? What, like, where can people find you? I need your website. Like,
Yeah.
what is Ty doing next?
Oh, a few things. But first, Ty Goodwin is on all platforms, even TikTok. If you find me on TikTok, you're gonna laugh. But even on TikTok, but I'm everywhere at Ty Goodwin. So it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. If you find Ty Goodwin, you're gonna find me there. So if you want to connect there, I'd love, to connect with your audience and your listeners. We do something called the Leads Workshop. You can go to theleadsworkshop.com. And we do that every week or every other week, where we're doing a live training session on how to create a client attraction system. Theleadsworkshop.com.
Mhm.
That's there. And our marketing, that marketing team is our website. So if you go to thatmarketingteam.com, that's our main website and our main hub. So those are the best ways to get in touch with us.
Wow. Okay. I've
Yeah.
written them down for my own self. So, 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 and so I'll make sure that this is in the show notes. So, folks, y'all have got to read the show notes. So these will both be there, along with Ty's bio and all of her LinkedIn profile. I don't think I told you, but like, I stalk my people on LinkedIn and other platforms. So there you go. There you go.
Mhm.
I have outed myself. Uh, okay. So last question, and this is a question that we ask every person who's ever been on the show. So it is, if you could travel back through time and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give her and why?
I would give her the advice to work on building your confidence.
Mm, yeah.
Um, it's the difference between success and failure is confidence a lot. Do you believe that you can do it? Do you believe that people will buy from you? Do you believe that when you show up, things are going to be aligned for you? If you have that belief in yourself, and the belief that the universe is going to support you, the belief that people are going to, and opportunities are going to come your way, if you have that level of confidence, you're going to end up attracting so many opportunities and so many people, and so much success to you. And this is my personal story. I wasn't very confident when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was always second guessing myself. And part of that was because I was a smart Black girl, and growing up in the inner city of Philadelphia, smart Black girl, AKA you talk white,
Mhm.
AKA, why are you always in those books? Those kind of things. I didn't have a lot of confidence, you know. And I wish I could go back to her and say, no, baby girl, you know,
Yeah.
you need to be confident about who you are and what you bring into this world. Because if I'd have shown up then like I'm showing up now, oh my goodness, you guys wouldn't be able to stand me.
I love that so much. I love that so, so much. And it's so true. It's just, I feel the same. It's just, I don't know that I had the confidence that I now have.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I just, so telling her that would be, that's just so lovely. I appreciate that so much. And I also appreciate you for, again, for just agreeing to be a guest on the show. I think this was a great conversation. I actually want to ask you right now,
Mhm.
if you can come back on. Because I'm pretty sure that once this airs, there's going to be people who have all sorts of questions. And maybe we'll do a live. What do you think? If we could do like
Oh,
a live?
absolutely. I'm in. I'm
Okay.
100% in. Absolutely.
Okay, y'all heard it. I've locked her in. I've
Yes,
locked her in.
absolutely. And listen, I want to thank you for doing what you're doing. You know, you created a platform, you've created a community with content that is highly valuable for your audience. And thank you for being a trailblazer and stepping in and doing it, because I'm sure there have been times you be like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like we all get those places. So I thank you for stepping up. And one of the things I always say, and I say this in almost every interview I do, is that there are people who can't step into their purpose until you step into yours.
Ooh, speak that. I love
Yeah.
it. And thank you
Yeah.
so much. I appreciate it. All right, you guys. So that concludes today's episode of Stimming and Stilettos. I know that you walked away with a whole bunch of nuggets. And if you are a solopreneur, entrepreneur, and you are, stuck or feel like you don't know where you're headed, check Ty out. Check out that marketing team. Go to, what did she tell us?
Leads workshop.
Leadsworkshop.com. Look her up on LinkedIn and do all of those things so that you can keep your business moving forward. The truth of the matter is that we probably need you. We need you guys. So don't stop. Get the help you need. There's no
Yeah.
harm in it, and it can only help you be better at doing what you do. So, and as I end every show, please, you guys, keep yourselves well.